Yeah, we were in position and putting the pressure on the two-car like we needed to. And I said in the beginning of the week, 15th is in the layup. We certainly had them in a position. It made it really interesting, I guess, here at the end of this thing. If we could have not had the mistake on pit road and then the gear failure at the end. Didn't really catch exactly what happened, but I know there's oil under the back of the car. So, that's one, two.
Keep talking, Jimmy.
So there's oil under the back of the car. Not sure if a fitting busted or was hit by debris or a line, but something back there allowed the car to puke out the gear oil. There we go. Now we're back. So as I was saying, there's oil all over under the back of the car. So something happened from their line failure, or a fitting was hit by debris or something, and it puked all the oil out of the rear end gear and burned up the gear. So again, disappointing, and we were right there in position and putting pressure on like we needed to. But I have a lot to be proud of this year, and so does this race team. And I can't thank everybody. I need to thank everybody at Hendrick Motorsports. Every man and woman there put in countless hours to give me great equipment, support from Lowe's, my fan base, Chevrolet, and my family. We did all we could and came up a little short.
Thank you, Jimmy. We'll take some questions now. We have a wireless mic. Let's go to Ed and then to Holly. And then to Bob.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Jimmy, do you have any idea whether the oil line or whatever damage occurred after you had to come back in? Was it something that could have been related to the missing lug nut?
I don't think so. When I returned to the track, I could smell gear oil, and my experience is you usually never smell your own. You smell someone else's, but clearly I was smelling mine. Maybe something coming down pit road, like a loose lug nut or some debris on the apron as I was getting on the track could have. But again, that's just speculation. I don't know if a line failed or exactly what went on, but putting a lug nut back on like we had to come down for would not create the problem.
So maybe the mistake on the pit road was irrelevant. Maybe your situation was doomed anyway.
Yeah, I guess if we find out if a line broke, that could be the case.
And one more quick thing, can you describe whether you came in this thing with people not giving you much of a chance? Would it have been easier to take if you had just never had a chance all day long? Does it hurt worse when you surge and you can almost taste it again?
In a lot of ways, yes, but man, I would have hated to come out here and do the trash talking I did to start the week and run 25th all night long. I'm proud of the fact that we went out there and backed up what we said we could do, and we put the pressure on. It doesn't take the sting away from losing the championship, but it helps in some ways and stings in others. So it's kind of balances out, I guess.
Let's go to Holly, and then we'll go to David. Go ahead, Holly.
Jimmy, if you could just talk. All of this happened within what felt like a 5-minute period. You were leading, Brad had his trouble, you were ahead in the points, and then boom, the lug nut, and then boom, this. If you could just speak to your emotions, because this all, went down in very tight time frame.
Yeah, it did all unraveled pretty quick. The pit road thing, I was just kind of dealing with it the first 2 or 3 laps I got on the track and trying to think through what was going on. And Chad had some optimism left in his voice. I wasn't sure why or what. Maybe he was just doing a good job of being a cheerleader. But I ran a handful of laps, and then I could smell some oil. And when the gear failed, there was a lot of shaking in the car. I knew it was big and going to be fatal. At first, I thought it was the engine, but it was the gear. The engine was still running. We came into the pits, and I fired it up, and the engine was running. So. It definitely disappointing, but I feel that we had the speed, we had 80% of the chase that we needed to have, and so it's hard to be real down on myself or real down on where we finished. These championships are special, and it takes an entire 10 race, clean 10 races to win one of these things, and we hurt ourselves in Phoenix, and then today didn't help. I felt so calm and relaxed all day long because I didn't have anything to protect, that it was as much like a normal race for me as ever. And that's something that I enjoyed and allowed me to stay loose in the car, communicate, and describe what I needed, and we made the car better. I didn't see Brad, but I wasn't, I didn't have the tingles of a championship feeling. I didn't even know where Brad finished until I got out of the car and had to ask Jamie before we went on the air. And at first she said 21st, and I about lost my lunch when she said that. And I said, well, you got to 15th. And I'm like, man, it would have been interesting. So.
Let's go to David Newton, and we'll come over here to Gary Long. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jimmy, David Newton, ESPN.com. I mean, you guys, the crew, even after you went to the garage, worked to the very end, and you wouldn't get out of the car. Kind of go through what's going through your mind at that point, and what's that say about the team that they just wanted to get the car back out on the track?
Yeah, you know, it's just one of those things that teams do, and certainly the 48 team does, to get back out there and try not to have a DNF. In the event that somebody has a problem, or if the two did, we could capitalize on it. But our troubles were pretty big, and there weren't many laps left. So it was more about going through the motions and trying to, from a pride standpoint, get out on the track and run the final lap of the season.
Jimmy, in Brad's earliest introduction to this sport, did you have any run-ins with him at all? And can you talk about the progress he's made over his 3 years and just your impression of what he's done this year?
No, I haven't had any run-ins with him. We were teammates for a handful of years. He was junior's car, and when you're teammates with someone, you get to know people on a different level, and your guard's down, and it's much more friendly than meeting somebody out on the racetrack door to door for the first time. So we had a good relationship then, and I can't go without saying congratulations to Brad, the entire team. I've known Paul for a lot of years, and through my disappointment, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Brad, and very good friends with Roger, and happy that he was able to come out with the championship.
We're going to take about 3 more. This one here, Pockrass, and finish upstairs. Go ahead.
Hey, Jimmy. Charlie McCarthy, Fox Sports Florida. Assuming career-wise 7 or 8 championships is something you want to achieve, how tough is it to finish so close this year and come short?
To be close is just, it sucks to be close and to not get it. That's just, the way it is. The statement I made about the 8 championships is, on that big wish list that, we all have a wish list. So the reality of that isn't something that motivates me, and I'm not, focused on it or think about that number. It was really to give everybody an answer, because everybody would ask me, what next? So I thought it would buy me some time and have to come up, with some type of answer. But I'm just disappointed that we came so close. We had 80% of the chase that we wanted to have, a ton of momentum late in the season, and then, those final 2 races bit us.
Go Bob Pockrass and finish in the press box. 2 more questions. Go, Bob.
Bob Pockrass, Sporting News. You said you almost lost your lunch when Jamie told you Brad had finished when she thought it was 21st at first, but how did you feel when you had the lug nut issue, and is there any sort of consolation that even if you didn't have that issue, that that the gear would have broken anyway?
Yeah, it's hard to say on the gear. We lost the oil, so until I understand why we lost the oil, the gear grease, I don't know, but we were in position to win the race. We were ahead of the 24, and 24 won the race. So we were. Chad had a great strategy, called me to pit road to top off, and with it staying green like it did, we were definitely in the catbird seat. Yeah, I was eerily calm for whatever reason. Just flatline. Just came back in and got the lug nut on, went back out, and then we had our other problem.
Finish with a question in the press box. Go ahead.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Jimmy, the same strategy that you were on ended up winning Jeff the race, and just wondered if you were surprised or Chad was surprised if that Brad didn't cover your move when you came to pit road to top off.
Yeah, I was surprised, and I think we're trying for track position and probably a little frustrated with being stuck in the middle of the pack, and it's tough to really race hard when you come down here and you have something to protect. I mean, I've been through it enough, and I definitely think those guys were feeling it today, and maybe outside of their game a little bit, in going for the fuel mileage perspective, and it gave us an opportunity, and it was definitely going to make things interesting. Unfortunately, we couldn't execute at the end.